All right, so you guys were just telling me that the word that you see, the word I was looking for inside of correlation is relation. So, what does it mean to be related to something? What does it mean to be related? If there is something that there's a relationship,
Means there might
means that there might be some similarities, but a relationship just means that there's some sort of connection. That's really all that there is with a relationship. Now, like in a family relationship, like you're connected by your household, DNA, like there's lots of different things that you can consider a relation. But these just mean that there's some sort of connection. So we might have two things that are connected, but we don't really know why they're connected. Now, causation, what word do you hear in causation?
cause.
Cause. All right, whenever you're dealing with causation, in causation you have the word cause, which in this case, you're actually saying that you have two things that are related. However, one causes the other one to happen. So there is a relationship here, but one variable causes the other one to one variable causes the second variable to happen. All right, so before we go to the back side, I want to give you guys some examples, and you guys just tell me if you think it's just some sort of connection or if you think one causes the other one to happen. So before we go to the back side, I have an example here. All right. Tell me if you think these might have any sort of relationship. The amount of the amount of time, I guess I should probably the amount of time that students are on their phone and the level of Mrs. Walker's patience.
Okay, so you
Hmm.
that's causation because it's causing your patients to run.
You know, say, do you think that the amount of time that you guys are on your phone affects my level of patience?
Yeah.
A little bit. Not as much as I would say, probably less. I guess there's probably less causation than with other teachers. I'll just warn you guys, next year when you have Mrs. Murdoch for English, just don't get your phone out. You know, say her patience is very small when it deals with phones. Some teachers don't care if you're on your phones at all. You know, say I personally don't care as long as you have all of your work done and you're doing what you're supposed to. But I know some people choose to do other things, and then they say that they don't know what they're doing on the quiz, and then that kind of just, I don't know, pierces right through me. But on this one, there's probably a little bit of causation. So on this one, the amount of time. So if you wanted to look at this, we could think about this as a graph. So we're going to say here that this is causation. Now we're going to talk about what this looks like on a graph. All right, so this is the student phone time, and this is 0 to 45 minutes. So We're just saying, like, during this class period, are you on your phone 0 minutes or up to 45 minutes? All right, and then this is my patience level. All right, so what does 0 patience mean? Does that mean I'm annoyed or I'm calm? All right, so that is one thing. With my patience level, when I'm down here, I'm annoyed. And when my patience level is high, that means I'm calm. Sometimes you have to look at the scenario because, like in this case, my annoyance level is actually 0, or my patience level is 0 when I'm annoyed. So this would be the two things. So if you guys said, if you're on your phone 0 minutes, where do you think I am? Do you think I'm more on the calm side or the annoyed side? Calm. Now, if you're on your phone all 45 minutes of my class period, where am I? Yeah, I'm super annoyed. Now, throughout the day or throughout the class period, everybody might fall in a different category, which creates a scatter plot. So if you are on one extreme, I'm super calm. If you're here, I'm super annoyed. So on this one, this is causation. There is a relationship here. Would you guys say, based on looking the way that the direction of the points go, is this a positive or a negative relationship? Say, if I were to draw a line of best fit, does that line have a positive or a negative slope? Say, it's negative. It's going downhill. So this would be causation. And if you're asked if it's a positive or a negative relationship, we would say this is negative. So these are the types of things that we're going to ask. One thing is going to be correlation causation. That's going to be the main key. But every once in a while, I might ask you if something has a positive or a negative relationship. And all you have to do is sketch a little graph and just think about what you would need. As far as like your x-axis and your y-axis, and realistically what those numbers mean, like small and big. Like in this case, with our phone time, 0 obviously means we're not on the phone at all. The most you can be on your phone in class is 45 minutes. And then we just kind of put a scale on my patience level. And then we decided where those points would go and what it would look like. So we are going to do a couple more of these positive negative relationships, but let's look on the front side and let's see if we can do some correlation and causation. All right, I know this sounds kind of crazy, but this first one is a true statement. The number of crimes has a relationship with the number of baseball tickets sold in New York City. All right, so we are being told that there is a relationship. Do you guys think this is a correlation or a causation? Say, do you think that people committing crimes, it's causing people to buy baseball tickets, or people that are buying baseball tickets, it's causing them to commit crimes? No, but there is a relationship. So on this one, this would be correlation. I spelled correlation wrong on the title.
Yeah, I just put 2 L's because
Judge me. Say, no, I wrote that wrong. So correlation. The number of crimes has a relationship with the number of baseball tickets. One does not cause the other one to happen, so this would be correlation. Anybody have a reason why maybe those are related?
Maybe the number of tickets sold is how many crimes committed.
I'm going to say, I would say that there's probably a lot more crimes committed than baseball tickets sold in New York City. There's crimes all the time. I'm going to say, when do baseball tickets get sold? What season? Spring and Spring and summer, maybe a little bit into the fall, but the weather's nice, right? When it's not baseball season in New York City, what's the weather like? It's freezing. There is proof that there are more crimes committed in the summer. I don't know. I had a kid a few years ago say, well, and I know this sounds really morbid, but they were like, it's hard to bury a body whenever it's cold outside. And I was just like, I was like, that went a little darker than what I wanted it to be. But you just have more people out and about when the weather's nicer. And I mean, it's sad to say, but crimes when there's more people out and about, the chance of having a crime committed is actually way higher. So they're both related to the weather, but obviously just buying baseball tickets doesn't cause someone to commit a crime. Now, with the second one, we've got the number of in-school suspensions has a relationship with the number of tardies.
Yeah.
Do you think that
It's causation because if you get more tardies, they get suspended. Possibly.
Hey, I will tell you, at one point in time, they used to give kids in school for tardies. Like if you had so many tardies, they would just give you a day of in school. So it is a possibility. So on this one, we would say that this leans a little bit more towards causation. And the reason why is because you can get in school.
Oh, you have to put why.
No, but I'm just writing it. For your notes, you probably want to know why. You can get in school for too many tardies. All right. Number 3. The number of track practices in a week has a relationship with the number of races won. Do you guys think there's a correlation or a causation there? I'm going to say, why do you say causation?
Because if you practice more, then you have a better chance of winning.
I'm going to say, I think that sounds reasonable. Let's go with it. All right, we've got causation. And that reason being, the more you practice, the better chance you have of winning. All right, and then for number 4, it says the amount of rest on a sore foot has a relationship with the healing time. So do you think resting a sore foot has an effect on its healing time? I don't know if you guys have ever been injured, but I will say out of all of the injuries that I've had in my life, a sprained ankle was probably the worst as far as just being annoying and healing time. But do you guys think that resting a sore foot would affect its healing time? Sure. All right, now I'm not going to write the reason why here because I needed to save some space for a graph. Because if you look down at the next question, it's saying, is number 4 a positive or a negative relationship? So when you're looking at this, we only need to make an axis like this because we never typically have negative numbers. The only time I've ever really noticed having a negative axis is if you're dealing with like the weather in a scenario because you can have negative temperatures. But that's really the only time you tend to see a negative relationship or a negative number, and you would need to make a negative axis. But if we look at this, we just need to put one of these on the x-axis. So I'm just going to put the amount of rest on this axis. So this means that I'm resting 0 minutes a day or 0 hours a day. And what's the maximum amount of rest in a day? All right, 24 hours. All right, so we're just going to do our rest is in hours. So 0 means you're not resting at all. You're just going about your business. 24 hours means you're like on bed rest, like you're not moving at all. So if we look at this and it says it has a relationship with healing time. All right, now 0 healing time. This means that it healed automatically. That means that you needed no time. You just stood up and you were good to go. And then up here at the max, we don't really have to put a number there. But this means, like, the worst thing that could happen is that it never heals. So with your healing time, you can heal things automatically or it could never heal. But most of the time you're somewhere in the middle. But if you are resting your foot, no time, like if you're giving yourself no resting time, where are you going to be on this axis? Are you going to be closer to automatically healing or never healing? All right, if you're not resting, you're probably like eventually it will heal. But you're probably going to be somewhere up here, right? Somewhere in that top, closer to never healing. And then the more you rest, the healing time is going to get a little bit shorter. So is this positive or negative? Is it going uphill or downhill? And I'll say it's going downhill. So this one is a negative relationship. And then the last question of the day, what about number 1? Let's go back up and look at those baseball tickets and crimes. So on this one, if we go back up here at number 1 and we look at this. All right, so tickets sold and crimes. So we can have no tickets sold or we can have all tickets sold. We can have 0 crimes or, I don't know, there's no limit on crimes, but.
Do you want us to draw a graph for that?
Mm-hmm. So whenever you're asked to determine a relationship, you should always sketch a graph. So on this one, think about it. When no tickets are sold, that's the winner. Now, do you think that there's still some crimes committed in the winter? Just not as many. So we wouldn't actually like start right at the x-axis. It would be a little bit above. But as more tickets are sold and it gets warmer, it tends to go up. So on this one, we're going uphill. So how would we answer that at the bottom? Is that positive or negative? That is a positive relationship. All right, so if you guys have room on the back, I actually want you guys to try one of these on your own. I'm going to give you a scenario, and then you are going to tell me if it's, first of all, the first thing I want to know, and you can just tell me, is it correlation or causation? And then the second thing I need to know is if the relationship is positive or negative. So you will want to draw a graph here in just a little bit based on the scenario. Now, the relationship I want you to compare is the relationship between the number of coats sold and the temperature outside. And if you can see on my x-axis, I put my temperature, and I went ahead and added a little bit of negative because you can have negative temperatures. So you would want to sketch a graph. So you're going to tell me, is it correlation or causation? And then if it's positive or negative. All right, what do you guys think about correlation or causation? Do you guys agree or disagree with that? Causation. All right, I'm seeing some nodding yes, so I assume that means you agree. You're say, I agree. I definitely think that there is a relationship. There's a certain time of the year based on the temperature if you're going to buy a coat or not buy a coat. So on this one, I would definitely say causation. Now, is this positive or negative? If you sketch a graph of this, all right, so first of all, I'm going to label my axis. So my y-axis is my coat sales, and my x-axis is my temperature. So when I'm over here on the left, does this area mean hot or cold? All right, so we're in the negatives over here. So this is very cold. Over here, it's extremely hot. All right, so when it is cold, what happens to the coat sales? Are they high or are they low? All right, so coat sales are higher in this area, right? Now, where do you think coat sales are when it's super hot?
Down.
Like, do you think maybe, I don't know about you guys, but like I buy coats whenever they're on season, like on sale off season. So I tend to buy some coats whenever it is hot. But if you look at this, it probably follows some sort of pattern in this area. So is that positive or negative? Negative. All right, do you guys think you can do an assignment over this?
Yeah.
All right, now I will tell you, I am not requiring you to sketch graphs on this. However, it might be beneficial for you to visually see if it's going up or down. So for each scenario, it gives you a situation. You're going to check one or the other. It's correlation or causation. You just check it. And then there's a positive, negative, and you just check what you think it goes with. And there's only 5. It's a very short assignment. You guys can turn these in whenever you're done. They're not due until Monday, but yes, those are for you to keep. No, you have to just look at the situation and what it's comparing it to, because sometimes rest would cause things to go down, sometimes rest cause things to go up. Because like having rest sometimes causes stress levels to go down, but if you're comparing it to like being relaxed, it would go up. So it just depends on what you're comparing it to.
Do we just check Put a check mark whether it's correlation or causation.
Yep, so you do a check mark for correlation causation, and then you do a check mark for positive negative. So basically you're just asking, is one causing the other one to go up, or is the one causing the other one to go down? And if they're both going up, then it's positive.
What if it's, yeah, so if it's causation, that would, I don't know.
For each one, you're gonna give me 2 check marks. So like we circled causation and negative. If this were on this assignment, I would check causation and negative.
Well, what if it was like correlation? Would they both go up, or how would that work?
You can have positive correlation, you can have negative correlation.
Oh,
So
I
you're
thought
just
they
saying
don't
like,
affect I thought they don't affect each other, their correlation.
there's a relationship, but it's just not, one doesn't cause the other, but you can still have, you can graph things even if it's not a causation. As long as there's a relationship, you can graph. So you see here, what is Subway going up or down? What's happening in McDonald's? So,
That would also probably-
Well, let me see. You'll say that one's definitely a correlation. Number 1.
So they want all causation.
You should not get all causation. A lot of them are causation, but not all of them.
So they can both be positive.
So if both things are going up, so like
Or we would just put
hotter day, higher attendance, those things are both going up, so that means it's positive.
So
Yeah, it's that easy. Don't overthink it.
try not to.
I know. Oh, did I put, oh shoot, I never stopped recording.